boy, everything wants to fight today. Everything, all the stuff wants to fight. All the technical issues are trying to happen. But for some strange reason, I've gotten good enough at this now to where it's like we can actually get close to on time. Welcome to the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk, number 76. Amazing, isn't it? Seated across from me,
Justin Strelzik, by the way, 76. Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Resplendent in blue as well. We did not plan this. We did not plan to be matching in blue. Yours is more of a royal blue, where my blue is more of a Miami Marlins blue.
Segue.
Because, well, that's one of the things we're getting to today. It's one of the myriad of subject matters. We're going to talk about the Miami Marlins a little bit. We're going to talk about the umpiring and how freaking horrible it's been. We're also going to touch on the NBA playoffs, especially. We're going to start with the micro, and then we'll go to the macro. Micro, macro. Take it easy. We'll
economics class.
It's an economics class. And then what else were we going to talk about? Do you remember? We were doing all this rundown, and then we had the technical difficulties, and I completely forgot what we have.
Yeah, we'll get there. I do want to pick on the Cowboys just slightly. We don't have a lot of football talk, but I want to talk about the importance of a rookie contract for your quarterback so you can actually pay the rest of your guys a few bucks and make them pretty good too. So we'll just draw a comparison to Dak.
Right.
We'll get there.
Well, and while you keep talking, I'm going to try to make sure that you can see yourself, because one of our technical difficulties is that our monitor system doesn't seem to want to pick up the monitor that we have chosen for it.
All right, you work on that. First of all, hello.
Stall.
How are you?
I'm doing all right, with the exception of this pain in the ass.
The only Dak reference that I want to make in terms of the contract and stuff like that is one of the stats I pulled up was the last time the Cowboys won a playoff game, Dak was making $600,000 a year.
That's true.
Now, we know
that was his rookie deal.
Over the last few years, do we pay Dak? Do we not pay Dak? How much do they franchise him in the last 2 years? Next year, I think he's on pace to make $45 million.
$1 billion.
Yeah. So I guess you have to ask yourself, when is it okay to pay great money for somebody that's only good? And if you look at the landscape in the NFL, you look at the Chiefs and what they did, as good as Patrick Mahomes is, he wasn't making the money perhaps that he should have been making. I mean, obviously being on a rookie contract. But again, what that does very simply is that allows you to pay your other players, your offensive linemen.
You don't have to crawl.
No, make him crawl.
Yes, make him crawl.
Your other skill position players, they got to get paid too. Is it worth paying Dak $45 million? I guess that's what the market's going to dictate. But
nope. Nobody.
Going to be a problem. Nope. And that's not just Dak. I mean, obviously, he deserves to get paid his money. I'm not trying to. We've always been pro player.
We're always pro player.
Get what you can get.
You to get your money.
But realize that
still, so there's a limit.
Unfortunately, you're going to get one or the other. You're either going to get paid and probably not put a trophy on the wall, or you're going to put a trophy on the wall and maybe not have as much in the bank. But they'll get it worked out. I don't have a lot of confidence in that, but at least he'll get his money. They'll get him paid. And
I'm always pro taking money from rich guys. Okay, yeah. It's just like Jerry Jones said. He goes, "I have never been happier to have somebody take my money. I've never been happier to overpay somebody." So he said.
Yeah, well, he's done that. He has a history of overpaying, so that's not an issue. He will sign the check.
Yeah.
But
amongst all of Jerry Jones's foilables, of which I believe that the Jones family is not quite the smartest family-run operation in the NFL, even though they do have the most marketable and valuable franchise, not only in the NFL, but I believe in the world now, right?
Yeah, and they're number one. They've been number one despite their inefficiency and lack of winning seasons, titles, championships, even playoff appearances.
It's amazing.
But it's the brand. And again, when you're in the NFL and you're under the shield, everything has higher value. And certainly if you're on the top of the list, like the Cowboys, the Steelers, other teams, it's a mint. So much money in those organizations. Tons of money. But they'll pay him. They have it. Jerry Jones writes checks. That's not the issue. The issue is maybe somebody should tell him not to write it for that big of an amount.
Right. So, well, and like I constantly and continuously say, I am not a big fan of some of these family-run operations in the NFL. I'm just not. I think that the Brown family is the reason why the Cincinnati Bengals are never successful. They just are. The Ford family, although I have found out recently that what's her name, Martha, I guess,
daughter?
the daughter,
Yeah.
She's actually a little engaged. She actually does know a little bit about the team. She does follow football. So I think that, and they also said that she was part of the process for hiring their new general manager, and she also really likes Dan Campbell. So, but we all know Dan Campbell is he's Mr. Roughneck, hard-nosed, psycho coach. He reminds me of his 1970s coach.
Makes good soup, though. I mean, that sirloin burger, Campbell's so good. So good.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's our football talk for today. Welcome. Come back next week. We'll talk about some more football.
Because we're on a
time crunch. Okay, next, NBA.
Next. No, wait, baseball.
You want to go baseball first?
We're going to start off with baseball.
You're going to get me excited quickly.
Well, we already had an argument about umpiring. Okay, we had a horrible case of umpire missed the call against the Marlins against the Mets. A low bottom of the corner strike that had been called all day long, and the home plate umpire totally missed it. Totally missed it. He either refused to call the third strike because it was an attempt by Sandy Leon of the Marlins of a frame job. You catch it down and bring it up.
You hurt the umpire's feelings that way.
I don't give two rats' asses about an umpire's feelings, but especially when the box shows that it was clearly bottom corner of the zone that he had been calling all day long, and then all of a sudden, why? Because Leon tried to do a frame job. I don't like your attempt at perfidy.
Yes,
who cares about your friggin' feelings? And then the very next pitch, Dominic Smith lines one in the gap, puts it and puts out that tying run on the board. Yeah. Now, I mean, it's all good because the Marlins came back in the bottom of the ninth with the walk-off homer by Garrett Cooper. Suck it, Tommy. But
who will
Tommy
see shortly.
But we will see him.
Yeah, we'll see shortly.
He's the guy who's supplying the tickets for the Marlins Mets game. And sorry for the suck it.
Yeah,
but suck it. But Tommy K is he's a huge Mets fan, and we love having him along because he's the mush.
The mush.
He is the mush.
Put him in the bathroom.
Yeah, go stand in the bathroom with coffee.
All right, here's my umpire take. I did a little research.
Replace them with automation.
And here's the current landscaping of umpiring in baseball. Okay, first of all, let's look at money. The average Major League Baseball player makes about $4.5 million a year. The average Major League Baseball umpire makes about $265,000 a year.
They're overpaid.
Now, that's quick math. That's about 5% of what the players are making. Now, I am all about money for players, but I'm also thinking about money for umpires. Now, here's my angle on this. In a position in the sport that is so important and so critical, like the umpire, okay, they're the officials. They keep the game moving. They enforce the rules. They can dictate outcomes. You've seen it happen many times. Why don't we get a system in place where it's a systems and balances check on these umpires?
Well, listen, but before you go into your detailed analysis, okay, I want you to take a look at your ticket today, okay? And in no way, shape, or form on that ticket is there an umpire's name. Okay, it's not like a rap song where it's Pop Smoke featuring Nicki Minaj with Angel Hernandez. Okay, it's not the Mets versus the Marlins with Joe Schmo is the umpire today. Okay, he's not listed on the ticket. Okay, he's not. He's an official of the game.
Okay, but let me give you an example now. Which people do things for two reasons in life. They do it for fame. They do it for money.
Okay.
You've pulled the fame away, and I get it. You don't need the umpire to be the on the marquee. Okay.
Right.
But then what you have to do then, just because he's not in the front of the line, it doesn't mean he's less valuable. It just means that his role is different. His importance is not the face, is not the name. It's not the oh, Joe West is behind the plate today kind of thing. It's not like that, and it shouldn't be. But their performance is important, and it's sometimes...
They're the board op, okay? They're the engineer of the hit song.
It took me 5 minutes to come up with a plan, okay, which I know can be probably modified slightly, but I think it's in the right direction.
I hate umpires.
Here we go. Why don't we take the umpires and assess their performance on a yearly basis? Pretty simple, and I'm sure it's already done to some degree. But what's not done... Oh, of course. First of all, take the bottom 25% based on job performance, based on whatever criteria that MLB has set up to assess an umpire's performance. Right. Balls and strikes, out safe and out, whatever. Anything within their job description has an evaluation process or should have one. Right. Based on that evaluation process, you take the bottom 25% at the end of the year when it all shakes out, and
ones
you
that really suck.
Either relocate and or train these umpires. What you're doing then is you're allowing for growth within the umpire union, having guys that are in single A, double A, triple A, have them have a reason so that they know that based on their performance, they're being closely monitored and they have an opportunity to better themselves, to get to the major leagues, which I'm sure is the goal of most of the umpires that are out there doing this. These guys, these are professions. These are not just weekend guys. These guys travel together. The schedule is just as brutal as the players. It's a huge demand on these guys. So make it better. Assess a value for their performance and then pay them based on that value and their performance. Have a sliding scale. Give them incentives. My point is that when we talk about, we said the two important things for anybody in their job performance, either want to get the pat on the back or they want to get a nice check.
They get a nice check. They make $250,000 a year.
Okay, but again, based on what?
70, if that.
I know, but you play music, all right? So these guys are responsible for the outcomes of lots of important things like baseball
do their
games.
job that bad?
It's not a bad plan. I'm sure it could be modified. But again, it allows you to create a system that holds these umpires accountable, but yet also then rewards them for doing their job on an superior level. Nothing wrong with that. It's important to get these calls right. And I'm not...
It's major, MAJOR, Major League Baseball.
It's a big deal. And again, whoever's going to be the first to do this of all the sports, and if Manfred had a pair, he would be the first. Just like football did for COVID. They let all the other organizations go, make their mistakes, get things worked out, get things right, get things wrong, so that when they take their first step, it's educated. It's in the right direction. They do this with all the umpires.
Don't get me started about Manfred.
I got a lot to say about Rob.
Manfred.
So, Gutekunst. Maybe he should change his name to Brian Gutekunst.
Wait. What's Manfred's name again?
Rob Manfred. Rob Manfred.
Manfred.
Yes. Best friends with Rob Gutekunst.
You got to make a face like they're like Rob.
Yeah. So anyway, fix it. It's important. You're going to see it all year. And again, the default is what you've said, automation. You don't need automation. You just need better trained umpires. And they can do that. There's enough money in the sport where they can take a few dollars, put it aside, and create a better system for the umpires to make the game better. This is the whole point of this. It isn't the umpires. It isn't the players. It isn't any of these things. That's why the NFL will always be successful, because the NFL puts the shield in front and everybody gets behind. Okay? That's the only sport that does that, and there's a reason why football's king. So get in line. Fix it. That's my baseball rant.
They're the evil empire.
Yes. Fix it, Rob. Rob, fix it.
Who would be Darth Vader in the NFL if that was the situation? I mean, of course, we have Emperor Goodell.
Well, it would have been Belichick up until when Brady left, because obviously everybody hated the Patriots, and since Belichick's the leader of that organization, technically,
I find your lack of quarterback disturbing.
He would be definitely Darth Vader.
Pray I don't alter it any further.
Patrick Mahomes would be Luke Skywalker.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah,
young,
Luke Skywalker,
idealistic,
yes.
Does amazing stuff.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get the coffee off my teeth.
I think Erin Andrews would be Princess Leia.
No.
She made a comeback. I saw her on the sideline recently.
Yeah, I understand that, but no. We want Cynthia Freeland. Cynthia Freeland would be Cynthia Freeland from the NFL Network.
Yeah,
Cynthia Freeland would be Princess Leia.
She'd work too.
Yeah,
she'd work too.
I mean, you really want to get nerdy. Okay, you really want to get nerdy, then who would be Mara Jade? Do you even know who Mara Jade is? No.
Isn't that Lisa's sister?
No, that's...
No? Mara Jade, Lisa's Jade?
No, Mara Jade is the former Emperor's assassin who became a Jedi and married Luke Skywalker. This is way off the movie track.
This is in the comics?
This is in books.
Books. I don't read books.
The one thing you got to understand about Star Wars, there's like 9,000 books that have been written about the Star Wars universe.
I've never met her.
All within the realm of the Skywalker family saga, the Empire, or but okay, Mara Jade. Okay, that's too nerdy. Sorry. Okay, reel it in.
So he married her?
Yeah, yes.
She's probably into role play.
She was definitely into role play. She was what's called the Emperor's Hand, which was an assassin.
There you go.
That was tied to the dark side, who then Luke Skywalker turned her to the light side, and then she became a Jedi Master, and became a member of the Master's Council. And I am being a big old friggin' nerd right now, and I'm taking us on a journey that has nothing to do with sports. So anyway.
But one more question about this whole thing.
Oh, for crying out loud.
If you marry an assassin, okay, when you guys get into like your arguments, are you more careful?
You better be.
Because at any point she could just end your life?
You better be.
The fights are different, right? Okay.
Yeah, well, let me put it to you this. Let me give you a little bit of perspective. Mara Jade is probably one of the most powerful Jedis ever. EVER, ever. So
ever. That is ever.
Take that for what it's worth.
All right.
If Luke wants to complain about something, no, you make sure you
run it by her.
You make sure you put your lightsaber on the nightstand and walk over and talk real nice.
Well, that's like real life now,
Maybe
too.
a little kiss. Honey, I have a
are
question.
You okay? Yeah, you're okay? Yeah.
Honey, I have a question. with your hat in your freaking hand, pal.
That's the
so
downside.
Anyway, so we're being sympathetic and we'll make them better and all of that. And $250,000 to be.
But it's relative. It's relative because again, when we throw numbers out there, again, it's 5% of what the guys that they're in charge of are making.
Look at the Korean League. The Korean League has electronics that are actually, you don't have to go to an appeal. Okay, it is literally the electronic strike zone will tell the umpire what a ball or a strike is, and they will have to change it if it comes back beep. Nope. If the beep says strike, it's a strike, even if you don't think it is.
I don't like it.
Well, okay.
I don't like it. Just make
moving along.
Just make the humans better.
Okay. Well, we're going to be going to the game where I can yell at blue all I want today, so it's okay. And if the seats are wide open, I'm going to sneak down behind home plate.
Oh, they'll be open. There'll be 84 people there today.
You will see me, but no, the Mets are in town.
Yeah, the Mets will draw.
And it's a Sunday day game.
8,000
people from New York, DGAF.
8,200 people. Do we have to wear masks in the stadium today?
I'm going to bring one in case it gets sketchy. Dude, I do it in the club. If I'm going to the bathroom and the club is packed, I'll bring it.
You're weird.
I'm not weird.
So whatever.
I have allergies even. Okay. I mean, people are nasty and dirty as it was. How do you think that this COVID thing got so bad so fast? Okay, I mean, the snowflakes want to, say Orange Man bad, he made it bad,
well,
and the right wing lunatics say it's a hoax. But you know what it is? People are filthy animals. Okay, that don't want to wash their hands and don't want to cover their face when they sneeze or cough, okay, or don't want to do the Asian thing because, why do we want to do something that Asians do, which Asian society, if you'll ever notice a picture or a film clip of Tokyo or of Shanghai, you will see a third of the people wearing surgical masks, and that's without there being a pandemic. Why? Because it is your civic duty, it is your polite responsibility. If you have a head cold but you still insist on leaving the house, cover your mug. Okay, but everybody being an idiot, no matter what kind of idiot, you politicize this crap. How about just wash your hands more often, not be a filthy pig and wipe your nose and then grab a doorknob. And if you are snotty and coffee and whatever, and so wear a mask when you go out, and you don't have to wear one all over the place, just when you go out and you're around people.
My turn. Stay home if you're a puss.
There you go.
Don't wear a
Stay
mask if
home
you don't
you're a
want
puss.
to. And if you can't handle it, if you don't want to sneeze amongst people, then stay home.
You're making me.
That's all.
Now you're going to make me cough.
Yeah, stay home. Just don't give me this mask. I'm done
Bunch
with
of
the masks.
animals.
I'm done with it. Done with the masks. Done with the whole thing. Let people
well,
get sick. It builds immunity.
Right.
That's
Well,
fine.
I'm gonna have my mask around my neck because I have one of those deals that can go not a gator, but I have like a real like.
Have your kids when they grow up play in the dirt. Have them eat dirt. Have them
Yeah,
do
oh,
all
yeah.
those kinds of things.
Drink out of the hose.
Yeah, build your immunity up to where it should be so that we don't have these issues.
You know, listen. I grew up in South Florida. Okay, specifically in Hialeah and Opelika. Okay, Hialeah and Opelika for real business. Okay, he's talking about the 70s. You used to eat stuff off the trees because we had lots of fruit trees, mangoes, loquats, star fruit. You know, carambolas. Not just a fancy street in Coconut Creek. We used to eat stuff off the trees.
I will say
Sometimes we
this.
would actually wash it.
When we played outside as a kid, and I don't want to sound like, oh, we all pill both ways in the snow.
Yeah.
When we were kids, this is what we did to hydrate and stay cool was to find a house because most of the hoses were next to the air conditioning units outside.
Yep.
And when you were so sweaty and so hot,
Spray me.
You would take the hose and drink it and put your head over the air conditioning fan and cool yourself.
Yeah.
So that was outside AC and refreshment all
Welcome
in the
to
same
Florida.
spot. Okay, so
Welcome to Florida.
Masks, I think, are a little further down the line. Do that. Grow up like that so that you don't have to wear a mask when you get to be older.
We're not talking about head colds here. We're not talking about the sniffles. Okay, we're not talking about
Drink out of a hose.
Sure,
Eat dirt.
Eat dirt.
Eat
yes,
dirt.
and then rub some dirt on it and walk it off.
And you're fine. So.
All right, moving on to the National Basketball Association.
There's some playoffs game going on.
There's some stuff going on. Well, we had the play-in tournament.
We did.
Which, and LeBron bitched every step of the way, and they still won, and they still got into the playoffs.
Got hurt twice during the process. Took a flop while he could. That's becoming the norm. Yeah. LeBron and his flops.
I was going to say, why are we even still debating that? It's part of the game now.
It's
like international soccer. It's like flopping.
It better not get to that level.
Yeah. It's close.
So yeah,
they're not going to have to stretcher anybody off the floor. But
speaking of the playoffs and first round exits, they had two chances. Was the Warriors now?
Listen, we all know Steph Curry is going to be the MVP. We all know it. He's going to be the MVP. He's going to be the oldest MVP since Jordan. He is going to be the scoring champ. He is already the scoring champ.
He already got that.
How do you get the scoring champ and the MVP out of the playoffs?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
The Golden State has
That's amazing.
They have some decisions to make. I don't know how good they're going to be when Klay comes back. If Klay comes back next year, and let's assume he is the same player that he was, even though he's getting a little long in the tooth now too.
It's going to be tough.
If he's the same, and that's a huge if.
It's a big if.
And you get Draymond, obviously, as well, and you have Steph. Okay, that's the core three. I don't think it's enough. I really don't. Draymond, as good as he is defensively, as good as
he's not Dennis Rodman.
His role is to be the voice, the motor, the energy, the in your face. He played Anthony Davis very well when they played him. He defended. He frustrated him. He's a great basketball player.
Yeah,
but he's not a scoring threat by any means. And when you have Curry throwing up 25 shots, 30 shots a game to get to that 40-point number,
yeah.
You lose things that are important like efficiency and other things, and that's why they're not winning. It's a shame for Curry, especially at this point. I think they're resting on their laurels. Obviously, their dynasty was amazing. What they did in the 3-4 seasons was again, historic.
Splash Brothers.
And you go back to that over years, and you look at that time period and think, wow, man, those three guys in that team were amazing. But I think it's past them a little bit now. And I think it's unfortunate because you have a guy like Curry that can still play, clearly, led the league in points this year. And I think he's got 4 or 5 more years left in the tank. I think a guy like that is highly marketable, has proven that, should be in the discussion. We should be watching Steph Curry in the finals. We should be watching him make his way through playing LeBron, playing the best players in the NBA.
Got to be killing silver right now.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's probably past Golden State at this point. So they're going to have to decide. Curry's going to have to decide. And again, it hasn't been a problem for these NBA players to just kind of pick up and move, get better situations for them. Obviously, LeBron started that years ago, and whatever, KD and the rest, Kyrie. So why not Curry? Why can't Curry decide to better
I know
himself?
where you're going with this.
James and him looks like buddy over the last year plus two. I think James is talking to him.
Careful.
And I can see a move. I clearly can.
You're talking like a crazy man.
Curry's a free agent next year. He's going to have to
free agent.
Free agent. He's going to have to sit down and he's going to have to decide what are my next 4 years going to look like here in Golden State. With a hobbled Klay Thompson at best, and a Draymond Green that is severely limited on the offensive side. The kid Jameis Wiseman, the center they picked up in the draft, is going to be really good.
And don't forget Andrew Wiggins.
But Jameis Wiseman,
who has made improvements every year. The 2 years that he's been there, he has made marked improvement in his game.
Curry's timeline is now. Wiseman's is not.
Right.
Wiggins, as good as he is a 3 at best on most teams.
Right.
So I just don't think that Curry's best years are better served in Golden State to finish out his career. I just don't see it. And as difficult as it may be for him to make the change, to want to make the change, if he stays in California, he doesn't have to lose his base. And I really do think that the smart move for him would be to go with LeBron. So I'm not going to fault him for that. I'm not going to be the guy that yells, "Oh, it's another star going to another powerhouse to win another title." Okay, I'm not on that team. I'm on the team that has a guy that's given himself to the league, that played his ass off for 12 years, that has a few more years left, and that wants to better himself, put himself in cemented history in the NBA as being one of the top 6, 7, 8, 9 players of all time.
Well, sure, but okay. Let me. I have a counter offer. That's even crazier. Okay, it's an even crazier idea, and it's Steph Curry going to play with another buddy of his, a guy who he lured away from a place that he called home in Oklahoma City, and lured him away to come out and play and win 2 championships, and that was Kevin Durant. So what would happen if Steph Curry ended up in New Jersey? How would that play out?
Well, how many guys are going to handle the ball there? I mean, Kyrie handles the ball.
There's only one ball.
Harden handles the ball. I mean, I think they've already spent their money. It's going to be hard for them to make that happen.
I understand that, but crazier things have happened.
I'd rather see Curry go with LeBron. I'd rather see because now. Well, listen, we're going to get to the Nets because that first game was unimpressive to say the least.
They're practicing. They're practicing.
Listen,
that was practice.
When all you're hearing from everybody, not just a few people, about how important it is to build chemistry, about the questioning of Durant and his ability to stay tough, Kyrie's flakiness, Harden's dominant ball control, and they come out in the first half and they shit the bed against a team that's not very good.
He cursed.
They were a combined 11 for 32 in the first half in that game yesterday.
Oh, yeah. No,
they were down, 6, 7, 8 at halftime against the Celtics?
Yeah.
Now, at no point did you think that they were necessarily in trouble, but when you're out, and I use this example, and I'll go back to this. The Steelers 3 years ago opened against Cleveland and tied. Okay?
Yeah, and then you knew you were in trouble.
That was enough for me to put the writing on the wall, okay? You spend an entire offseason prepping for one game and one team, and you... yeah, okay. You would think that they would come out in this game, the Nets, that being, and guns a-blazing. They put up 106 points against a team that's third worst in defensive deficiency in the league.
All right. Hang on. Here's another perspective while you take a sip of your coffee and solve your raspy throat problem.
My cleft.
He's a little verklempt.
I'm verklempt. That's what it is. I think get the MT right. Klempt.
It was practice. Practice.
Okay.
I'm telling you, it was practice.
So basically, they practiced in the playoffs.
They practice a playoff game.
That's cool.
Okay, you could tell some of it was getting back into that rhythm.
Have your brain surgeon.
That's the reason why they didn't care what their shooting percentage was or what the score was at halftime.
Have your brain surgeon perform 2 surgeries on a Saturday and let him practice on the first patient. That way he gets the second one right.
Why do you think they call medicine a practice?
Yeah, I'm not into that. Practicing
he practiced
when
on 5,000 people before he got to me.
Yeah, I'm out with that theory.
Listen, the guy that fixed my aorta, which by the way, 14.26 inches of I
big hole.
That guy gave me the news. He gave me good news. By the way, for those of you who care, my CT scan came back and everything is fine. Everything is groovy all the way down to my. But he then reminded me that my surgery was significant and that it was 37 centimeters was the length of the dissection in my aorta.
And if you divide that by 2.5, you get
14.26.
Yeah.
And I went, so back to basketball.
Yes.
That was practice. Thank God my thoracic surgeon had practice on 1,000 other aortas to be able to do a foot-long stitch.
Yeah.
All right. So
It's a big deal.
I'm not worried about New Jersey one bit.
I'm not worried about them
At
in this first round.
No.
I'm not worried against them against the Celtics.
After 5 or 6, I'm going to say 5. I'm going to say it's going to be New Jersey in 5. I think you will find one game where the Celtics will run them out of the they'll run them out of the gym. Probably one game in Boston.
Maybe
they'll run them out of the gym,
Boston's
home
not been
cooking,
good.
all of that crap.
They lost Jaylen Brown earlier. They haven't recovered from that.
Right,
And
but they're still not Sisters of Mercy.
No.
They're still not Oklahoma Panhandle Tech A&U.
They were very. New Jersey was very. Brooklyn, New Jersey.
They're not the Washington Generals.
Brooklyn was very unimpressive yesterday, and that's all I'm going to say about that game.
Okay.
I don't think they have enough to get there. What was impressive was Dallas taking care of the Clippers. Now, a lot of people said that was going to happen because everybody is still thinking that Paul George is the second best teammate on any team, and that Kawhi Leonard, with his 30 games off during the year and their chemistry.
Can I tell you a little something about Kawhi Leonard?
Yeah, please.
I am a low-key Kawhi Leonard hater. Okay, why? Pray tell? Because Kawhi Leonard paid a little bit of lip service to Pat Riley about the possibility of coming to Miami before he went out to L.A. And although Jimmy Butler is fan-friggin-tastic, he is one of my favorite current players. He has been a favorite player of mine since he was a rookie in Chicago. He's a fantastic player. Love him. Love his fire.
Yes.
Love his attitude.
That's a guy that's an 8
leadership
that plays like a 10 every single night.
Exactly.
100%.
And it's amazing. He should have wear custom shorts because he's got such huge cojones. But for Kawhi Leonard to pay lip service, not only to us, but to the New York Knicks, to the LA Lakers, and then he goes and plays for Steve Ballmer. Steve Ballmer, who is the fantasy basketball guy, the rich fantasy basketball guy that jumps in and thinks he's going to win the championship right off the bat. And he's Mr. Enthusiasm, and he's Mr. Fun, and he's Mr. Wahoo, and that's fine for you, pal. But you do not pay lip service to my team just to use them as leverage to go back to L.A. I'm an L.A. guy. I want to go play with my home team. You know what? You're not going to win a ring with the Clippers. No ring for you. No. You get nothing and like it. Okay? Period. So go Dallas. Another owner that I like, Mark Cuban, who's a lunatic.
One of the other stats that I want to pull up on that game, for the Brooklyn game, and then we'll move on to the next games, is the center rookie.
Go Heat.
Is the young center for Boston, that Robert Williams, blocked 9 shots in that game yesterday.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Now, again,
Bad man.
to me, that is, when you look at effort.
Kyrie knows who he is.
It takes effort to rebound. It takes effort to get steals, to block shots. So there's effort on this kid's behalf. So what's the opposite of effort? That's little effort. And to have your team have their shots blocked 9 times, it just seems like there's a little bit more effort put forward on the defensive end than there is on the offensive end. And that just lends to my argument that I just don't know who the Nets are. Okay? You know who the names are. Okay? You know that from a personal perspective, each of those guys on their own can dominate a game. They put up gaudy numbers. Harden was in the MVP discussion. Kevin Durant, despite being hurt all year, comes back yesterday, double-double. Okay, you know who he is. But Durant, when he plays, is always going to be, besides LeBron James, probably the best player on the floor. Okay? We're not arguing talent. We're not arguing numbers and stats. What I'm saying is what my eyes are telling me. And I'm telling you that one of the worst teams in the playoffs in the East had them down 10 points at halftime. Had a first, second-year guy who's, it's not going to say he's irrelevant. He's a good young player, but he blocks 9 of your shots. Okay, and you win the game by 7 or 8, whatever it was. Again, only scoring 104, 105 points as a team when they've averaged over 120 points over the last so many games.
They're practicing.
Okay, well, then I hope they practice like in the second round or in the third round when it matters.
No, practice should be over by then.
Yeah, I mean, so we'll see how that works. But again,
they're going to have their
understand.
4 or 5 games under their belt.
Yeah.
And then they'll get to that second round.
We'll see.
And hopefully they have to play the Heat.
We'll see. All right, so back to the Clippers. Back to Dallas. Luka, phenomenal game, triple-double. I mean, that guy's
Go
amazing.
Mavs.
And I'm all about Luka. I'm all about Dallas and wanting them to knock those SOBs out in the first round. I think that'd be awesome.
Bye.
Yeah. And actually, you know what? That would make Doc Rivers feel pretty good too, I think. Wouldn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah, I think that would make him feel pretty good. So, because I think that's who they would probably need at this point when they're facing adversity, is to be able to look up at a guy that's been there, that's done it, that understands players' personalities and knows how to make things work. But they don't have that.
Well, their owner got played by your players.
Yeah,
okay, you went out and you played fantasy basketball, and you decided that it was the coach's fault. Okay, listen up, pal. 2 years before you bought the team, he was taking that team of nobodies to the freaking playoffs. He had Chris Paul and 4 other nobodies. And he was taking that team to the playoffs.
Yeah.
All right. So,
and by the way, Porzingis, I think, only had like 14 points in that game yesterday.
He doesn't. All he needs to do is have his little double every game.
Well, he's a guy that could put up 30, 42. He can get hot. He can
but
shoot. He's a
not
mismatch.
with Luka. Not with Luka handling the ball.
Listen. Dallas played solid defense in that game too yesterday.
Yeah.
They're really, really good. They were the last 6 minutes in that game. The Clippers were outscored 18-5. And that's been the discussion about who is it that is going to take. Is Kawhi going to take the shot? Is Kawhi the type of player that in the last 5-6 minutes of a game can take over a game? He showed that at times in his career. Obviously, when Toronto won the championship, he had some big games. But when you have to be the guy in the spot, is Kawhi going to be the guy in the spot? Or is he just a phenomenal basketball player that everybody's afraid of because he's quiet, he's clutch, he's all these different things you call him or you think he is, but they come out and they also shit the bed game 1.
Well, Paul George is supposed to be this great clutch shooter, but as a Miami Heat fan, and as we have seen on several occasions in the playoffs, including the Eastern Conference Finals against the Miami Heat, that Paul George is a choke artist. Okay, when those time numbers get down to single digits and the ball is in his hand, he somehow manages to find the rim. Okay, so you go ahead and depend on Paul George to be that guy to take that clutch shot at the end of the game. You go right ahead.
Good luck with that.
And enjoy a little extra time in your off season because you ain't making it past the second round, pal.
Yeah, big problems.
Rushing quickly on the Heat versus the Bucks.
Here's my take on that real quick.
Okay.
Middleton goes for 26, 7, and 7. Now, the only knock on the Bucks has been, well, who's their number 2? Okay, obviously you know how good Giannis is and what he's going to do game after game no matter who he's playing.
Right.
But the knock was, well, can Middleton be the guy? Okay, and ultimately I think maybe he is in spots, but over the long haul he hasn't quite shown that yet. Yesterday, massive game, 26, 7, and 7.
Yep.
But I'll say this too. Jimmy was 4 for 23. And the Bucks won by 2.
Yeah.
So
Jimmy was 4 for 23.
What are you going with?
Hero had a bad day at the office.
I'm just looking at those 2 players. Do you think Middleton's a guy that can go 26, 7, and 7 every game against the Heat? No chance. Do you think Jimmy Butler's going to go 4 for 23 next game? No.
Even Bam had a below average.
No chance. The Heat lost by 2.
Yeah.
Now, we can break down a lot of different things about that basketball game, but the Heat match up extremely well against the Bucks. And it's largely in part because you don't know where you're going to get consistent number 2 from.
Right. Well, they've been relying on Drew Holiday.
He had a decent game last night.
He had a decent game.
But I watched him. His first half, he was quiet.
He's not the second banana.
And listen, I'll tell you this. In the NBA, like most sports, matchups are very important. And the Heat guard the guard position very well. They do. They throw a lot of bodies at you.
Duncan Robinson.
Well, defensively, none can play a little bit. Dragic can play a little defense. They come at
Dragic is
you.
a beast on
Yeah.
defense. Let's get that right. You got a mobile guard who likes to run, catch, and shoot. And guess what? Number 7 is right there in
Yeah.
your hip pocket trying to slap the ball out of your hand when you're going up.
So at least in this series, it's let Giannis get his because he's going to. Although I will say this, the kid still can't hit free throws.
I know.
So
They put him on the line a bunch.
Do what you got to do there too. Hack a Shaq or hack a Giannis, whatever you want to call it. Listen, I'm not overly concerned about Game 1 for the Heat in this series, and I do think if you told me right now, if you said, "Hey, who's going to win the series?" Not just as a homer, but I just think coaching and a couple of the other position players that the Heat depend on that can get really hot.
They're deeper.
In this game, Duncan started off really hot, hit a couple of threes that Heat were
Carry the team.
and nobody else was a part of that.
Right.
And that's
Well, he
not gonna
carried
happen.
us.
When everybody else plays to their level, and you do get that contribution, because next game it could be Tyler. Next game
Yep.
it could be Trevor Ariza. Next game it could be whoever. Bam goes off for 30 and 10.
Yeah.
It's going to be somebody. And I just
You
feel
can't depend on 3 of our guys having a below average day.
Yeah, it's just not
You can't
gonna
depend
happen.
on that.
So game
even if
one-
one of them goes off for their average, we
Yeah.
win that game by 6.
Game 1 goes to the Bucks clearly, but of all the first round series, especially in the East, I think this is going to be the best. I think this is going to be the one that's going to be the most physical, the most knockdown, back and forth, and ultimately, I think the Heat win the series. I
Right.
really do.
Well, here's a telling tale for you. Okay, last play in regulation. Okay, 6.2 seconds. Ball gets inbounds almost completely across court by Dragic to Jimmy Butler because Butler's got the isolation on Antetokounmpo. He's got the isolation one-on-one. Literally nobody on that side of the floor. He backs out, looks up at the clock, 4 seconds, sees he's got it. Nobody else is anywhere near the paint. He decides to drive the paint on Antetokounmpo. Okay.
I saw it.
Yeah.
It's a fadeaway layup almost.
No, but he tried as hard as he could to get Giannis to touch him, to foul him. And he knew he had the layup. He knew he had that. He knew he had the shot, but he tried so hard. That's the beautiful thing about Jimmy Butler is he's such a smart player.
Yeah.
But I'll give Giannis real credit. He was not going to give up the foul to be over aggressive to get the. He knew that Jimmy already had him beat on the dribble. Had him beat, was a step past him. And if you're going to go up and he's going to make that layup and you're going to foul him, then he's going to go to the foul line and game's over. Okay, that was a microcosm of that whole game right there. It was very smartly played, very tough played game. And once again, in Milwaukee, you can't depend on 3 of our guys having a below average bad night at the office. So I'm very confident in the Heat. Okay, moving on from basketball.
We have one more game I want to just talk
What?
about.
Oh, one more.
Just
okay, what?
last night, you had
We got to leave at 12 o'clock, right?
you had Denver losing yesterday to
the dad bod god Jokic.
Dame Lillard, man.
He's ridiculous.
For 6'2", 6'1", 6'2" guard.
Yep.
That dude plays 7 feet.
Yep.
He is fearless. He is just good. 34 points yesterday, 13 assists in that game.
He's a very bad man.
I know Denver losing Murray is obviously hurt them.
Tough.
It takes away from their ability to, run the guard play they want to run. Man, God, they're good. I mean, getting Nurkic back was huge. McCollum healthy is huge. That 3 right there, along with other guys like Simmons off the bench, they can play, and they were neck and neck in that entire game. And at one point, I think Denver had taken the lead, maybe going into almost like the beginning of the third quarter. They were up 5 or 6. And then you saw Dame just turn it on, and they just dominated from there on out. I think they won going away by 10 or 11, 12, whatever it was. Just like last year, Portland is going to be a tough out. And if they get past Denver, not sure the matchups who they're going to be facing next. But, I mean, let's say Dallas takes care of the Clippers. I take my chances on Portland beating Dallas just because of the athletic ability that they have. Now, Portland doesn't defend very well. If anything, that's going to be the sort of issue that may hurt them. They don't have the interior defense. Nurkic helps, but he's a 6'11", 6'10" center.
He's so awkward.
But, man, he puts up some crazy number lines. I mean, he's a guy that's 12, 14, 3, 2. He just does it all. And he has a motor, too, for a big guy. He doesn't stop.
Very European.
Yes. Listen, it's fun. Basketball playoffs are here. We're blessed. A year plus ago, and it seems like it's such a long time ago. All this was in jeopardy, and obviously everybody's taking the steps in the right direction, the vaccinations and all the other stuff going on, allowing us to enjoy these sports like we do and do what we do here in the show, which is also pretty cool. So, should be fun. But my early takeaway is this: if you asked me who's going to take it out of the East, give me the East, give me the West. Okay, based upon just what I've seen, just now, all these game ones. If the Heat get past the Bucks, I can see Heat Nets just because we talked about just the talent level of the Nets and the fact that they're in the East. And again,
just totally discounting Philadelphia.
Again, until you get there, you're not there.
Right.
And regular season, best record in the East. Okay, yes, that means something. Doc Rivers, huge for that team and the personalities and the stuff they're going through. There's been no grumblings this year of the disconnect between Simmons and Embiid. Maybe it's still there and just better covered. I mean, maybe they realize that, okay, we got problems, but let's keep it in-house.
Maybe the head coach is the connecting tissue.
That could be it, too. Maybe they fixed a few things. I mean, relationships do fix.
What do you think? You think Shaq and Kobe were besties that hung out
of course
together?
not. No, but they realized...
Phil was the connecting tissue.
They realized that in order for them to be the best, they have to be the best for each other.
Exactly.
And not for themselves.
All right. I'm going to pry you away from basketball because we're down to like 12 minutes left before we got to get off and get going here. So is there anything you want to cover before we leave?
No. Aliens? Okay. We got any aliens?
Well, we'll get back to aliens. I wanted to touch on the Miami Dolphins for a little bit.
Go.
Okay. For those of you who are out there that still maintain that Tua Tagovailoa is a game manager and it is horrible and terrible, well, a 211-pound Tagovailoa is at Miami OTAs right now, okay? And as tackle Austin Jackson described him, well, he has a beard, he's looking jacked, he's got a little more bass in his voice, and he knows this is his team. So of that, I will say that to a time, although it might have been a little deferred last year because the guy was literally 70%. He was playing on a rehabbed hip. He was playing at 70% of physical condition that he wanted to be. He was a rookie, and he was playing behind an offensive line that was full of rookies. So for all you football experts out there, okay, you pessimists, you traumatized PTSD having quarterback haters, okay, and believe me, there's plenty of you in Cleveland who are now having to digest the fact that they have a quarterback because they suffered through 2 years of up, down, up, down, up, down. We're not going to have to suffer like that. I'm telling you right now. Depend on 4,000 yards passing, depend on 25 touchdowns, depend on it. And only 25 touchdowns because that offensive line has also been rebuilt to run the ball. And they're going to run the crap out of the ball. And you may not like Miles Gaskins, all 5 feet 9 inches, 195 pounds of him, but guess what? It's happening. That you can already see it formulating. So
I will say this: you pick on the experts. The reason why they're experts is because they do this stuff for a living.
No. I say experts with air quotes.
Okay, I got you.
Okay,
yes. Weekend
because
guys.
One thing that's really happened, it's really metamorphosized over the last 15 years. Miami Dolphin fans used to be very knowledgeable and used to be very calm and very positive. Okay, but that was also during the Marino era. And then right after Marino retired, there was still an era of optimism. Okay, we still had some decent quarterbacks, especially, we had 4 years there where Jay Fiedler was the starting quarterback. And, excuse me. Hi, I'm back.
Hey, welcome back.
And somewhere along the way, and I think it was probably the Cam Cameron 1-15 season, that the Miami Dolphin fan base, and since you have already cursed, I feel for they lost their shit.
You got two coming. Yeah.
Okay, they lost it. They completely lost their shit to the point where I'm coughing. But they have to come back to reality. Okay? They have to come back to reality. And the reality is that this guy had so much going against him that it is as amazing as his numbers were. He only had 5 interceptions. Okay? He was 9-2. What do you want, Wicker? Okay? The kid was playing uphill with one hand tied behind his back. And now, last year, he couldn't have been 190 pounds, soaking wet. He looked skinny, but he looked like a brave young man and a guy who is used to being a leader, and he's a guy you would want in the friggin' foxhole next to you. Okay? And he went in and he did his best with what he had. And now what you're seeing is the bad man. And the bad man, we're gonna start hearing whispers. Okay? Once the 11 on 11 starts, once the contact drills start, okay, once the real balls start flying, we're gonna start hearing whispers. Tua looks good. We'll get to that second and third preseason game where we'll get to see him do a little more, and we'll start hearing whispers. Whoa, looks like Tua's poised to take that next step.
Let me crap on your Santa wish list real quick. Pro Football Focus has him ranked 30th coming into this year.
Good.
So here's what I'll say about that.
Experts.
Yeah, and you did mention experts. These are different experts. These are the real experts.
Who are wrong a lot.
Okay, yeah, and maybe he won't be 30th, but he won't be 4th. Not from 30th. That's my argument about these things all the time.
I will tell you he will crack the top half.
That's a huge jump.
Sure.
That's a huge jump. And it's possible. It's
15th,
possible.
14th, sure.
It's possible.
He's not the 30th best quarterback in the NFL.
I don't know that for sure yet. I don't know because what you're explaining, the weight gain, the positive feedback, the coach speak, everything you're hearing, you're supposed to say that when you take a quarterback in the first round. You're supposed to be behind your guy because otherwise it's a real problem. So you're supposed to say the things that are being said right now by coaches, by teammates, and by what you see, by what the sports writers see him as being bigger, being faster, being healthy. All these other things are great. You still got to throw the ball. You still got to be able to make plays. You still got to be able to lead the team. And if the experts have him 30th best coming into the year, it's going to be a hell of a leap for him to get up into where you're saying he'll be. Now, I'm not saying that can't happen. I'm not saying I'm not rooting for that. I'm not saying the Dolphins necessarily even need him to be 9-2 or whatever the record is going to be for them to be successful this year, whatever you measure them upon. But the kid's got a long road ahead of him. And fortunately, he's in a situation where he's got a great coach, a great organization on the rise, and he's got things around him, players and stuff that will make his effort better. It'll make his results better. Hopefully, that's what you're hoping for. But I'll say it again. When these rankings come out, they do a lot of work on these rankings, and it's very difficult. They don't miss by a lot. They miss, but they don't miss by a ton. And you do have outliers, and maybe he will be next year's outlier based upon what you're saying. I hope that's the case for him and the Dolphins. But betting money does not suggest that that's going to be that he's going to make that far of a jump. Now, 2-3 years down the road, maybe he gets into the top 10, and Dolphins are fine. They made the right choice. We'll see. Got a long year ahead. So I don't mean to
screw those guys.
I don't mean it to poop on your parade, but that's just I'm numbers guy. You're emotion guy. I get it. We work well together. We balance each other. You bring me down, I bring you up, all that good stuff. But 30th,
you're ugly.
30th is going to be hard to get to where it is that you're suggesting he gets to. But I'm pulling for the Dolphins. I'm not a Dolphin fan, but I'm pulling for the Dolphins. So let's put that out there.
I was going to say I've been nice. I've said nice things about the Steelers.
Yeah, listen, I haven't. I haven't. Don't worry, I got a lot. Next week we'll talk about how good my team is not. So let's talk about where my team's not going to be over the next 2 years while Ben's still there.
Fine.
And I'm glad they signed our coach to an extension because that made sense.
The one that you love so much.
Because that made sense. I mean, it's important to have the same guy there for 15, 18, 20 years and win twice. So, I mean, but as long as he's there for a long time, that's important.
A little bit of sarcasm.
Yeah. So
I'm detecting a little salt. That's bad for my blood pressure. All right. Well, then, I'm going to give you 3 minutes to say something about aliens because I hear the guru's guru is actually finishing up his shower, and we're getting ready to go attend the Miami Marlins versus the New York Mets afternoon game here in Miami.
11
Lone Depot Park.
Final score 11-8 Marlins today. That's a pre
11-8.
11-8.
That's a lot of runs.
Yeah, give me a lot of runs today.
You don't like either pitcher, do you?
Yamamoto is good. Ex-Marlin going against them today. Decent. He had a couple of 2-3 inning runs here in AAA just to get him ready for this start. He had one start against St. Louis, 2 innings, not well. Not good. And the Marlins, their pitching staff is good. I've been touting them. They're really good this year. Top 5 overall, starters and relievers.
Poteet today.
But, again, you get a young pitcher on the mound. The Mets are starting to hit the ball a little bit. So I'm going to predict a little bit of an offensive explosion today, both sides.
All right, then.
That's my call. And the aliens are coming. So.
Well, then we're just going to take it out from here. Big shout-out to everybody that are in town for the Gentlemen's Club Expo. Gentlemen's Club Owner Exposition in Miami and we're partying at Tootsie's tonight for the Entertainer of the Year feature dancing contest. It's going to be a hell of a competition. I'm one of the judges. Shout out to our boy Brett, who's feeling under the weather. He's not going to make it as a judge tonight, but hopefully we'll have him feeling better and have him back in the game with us during the week. And I don't know. That's about it. If you're in Miami at the Hotel Intercontinental, by all means, stop by. I will be DJing all day or most of the afternoon on Monday and Tuesday.
Good luck with that.
Some of the most fabulous feature entertainers in the game. God, there's gonna be 30 of them. 30. I hope my voice gave out Friday night. Hopefully it stands the test of time on Monday and Tuesday. But on behalf of myself and we didn't even say anything about aliens yet. Anything?
I just said they're coming. They're here.
They're coming. Okay.
Another couple of weeks. June 1st is the day.
And I'll see a few of them this weekend. Because if you've ever been to one of these things, there's aliens.
Oh, I'm sure.
All right. Yeah, there's definitely aliens. Well, then on behalf of myself and the Mazz, say goodbye to the nice people.
See you.
We will see you guys next week, or you're out of town.
I'm in Nantucket next week.
Okay, so in 2 weeks, we will see you guys as we venture into June and as the playoffs matriculate into the second round in the NBA.
Plus, it'll be after June 1st. So there'll be a lot of disclosure about a lot of stuff.
Yeah. And on a side note, we're really hopeful. Go Panthers. They can't seem to solve that Tampa Bay offense. Both Drieger and Bobrovsky.
Bad matchup for them. Bad matchup for them.
Having problems
for the Cats.
Hopefully they're able to come back and tie the series and got a shot. Hopefully. All right. Well, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Make sure you check out the Mazz at MLB Joy Us on the Instagrams, and of course you can search any sort of platform you want: Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. And you will find Gonzo Radio, Gonzo Radio. You can find us anywhere on those. So on behalf of myself and the Mazz, we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. And I'll fire up the ender. We'll see you guys in a couple. Bye.